I don't think anything is or should be fair, ever.
And that's why I will do this and they will quit.
What's up, legends? Welcome to the Demo Cast. My name's Jack. I'm here with my co-host Alex. What's going on, man?
Just keeping it alive, man. You know how it is.
Oh, yeah. First of all, I wanted to kind of kick it off and say thank you to everyone who has messaged us or shown support in any way, even if it's just a like on a little Instagram post. But I think the feedback that we've received has kind of exceeded both of our expectations by quite a bit. So
yeah, absolutely. I was expecting 0. Shook at the best. Like not only the amount, but like how positive it's been as well. It's been a really good, like a good mix of people that I know, people that I don't know, accounts that I have no idea on, and have never interacted with before, jumping in and having a word on it as well. And if I can lean on that a bit more, it seems quite a lot of it has been based around people taking the feed that we've been given out, like as a personal note, in a positive way of how it has, like how they can use it, how it has affected them, or like how they can see like those sorts of traits in themselves and what they're doing to move forward with.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely got that a lot. Pretty much all the messages I got were people saying like, yes, I do the same thing. There was a lot of people that commented on like the fingernail cutting and the beard trimming of like, it comes unstuck for like, that's when it comes unstuck for me. And when I get that back in order, kind of everything else kind of snowballs back in the right direction. And then just generally people being like, you know, this like has helped me quite a bit. Like just look at my life differently, and you know, maybe I shouldn't scroll on Instagram for 3 hours and actually do something productive.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? No, definitely. Mine's been very much the same. Nice and cut today as well. So
yeah, my beard's a little bit long today. Hopefully you can't see it in the video.
Feeling saucy, but no, very much on that. And because of that, there's something that, and like I've spoken to you about this before, and definitely something I want to bring up of other things that really helped me through both. Like when I was approaching new goals or being dug down by goals, or when shit slips, man, like when I'm feeling horrible as well. It's not always positive. Sometimes you get in this shit and you're feeling horrible about it, and it's hard to sort of like find this sort of avenue or exit or anything. Find anything that you can use as a positive to try and like build you back up on stuff like that. And it sounds super negative, as you know, and other people close to me would know, is I am a strong believer of you are the problem, which sounds super negative, and quickly I feel like it can be used of like, well, I'm just the problem. I'm always the fucking problem. Yeah. It's not, again, if you're blaming it and using the word I'm the problem as like the scapegoat, then you're thinking about it wrong in that sense. And it's hard and it's super confronting to be like, hey, maybe I'm being the fuckwit in this situation. For like an example, if you keep going through jobs, and every job you go to, like every new job, the manager's an asshole in all of them, and like you're just not gelling with people, and like everyone keeps doing this, or mate, you're the common denominator in that. You need to sort your fucking shit out.
I feel like that's pretty common, hey, where people would just be like, oh, every boss I've ever had is a fuckwit. And maybe, it's probably not.
The first one, probably. Second one, maybe. Third one.
You got 3 or 4 dickhead managers or dickhead bosses. It's probably your fault on that one.
You know what that saying, if you can't find the cunt in the room, it's you. Fuck, sorry. But very much so, man. Like you're the like the problem on it, and like at any point I would love to hear your take on this and jump in as well. And I know that maybe my wording is a little harsh on it, but harsh wording very much helps me stay on track. I'm very much of a tough love sort of.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is kind of something that I guess I've kind of been exposed to a little bit recently. I guess just in that realm, I guess, of stuff that kind of can sound negative, and it definitely can be spun in a negative way. And if you, like you said, if you do it wrong, if you kind of are using, well, I'm just the problem as an excuse, then you're looking at it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I guess like those things that can kind of sound negative, which I'm sure we'll probably touch on a few other things towards the end of this, but yeah, it definitely doesn't have to be such a negative. I think you can spin it in a way where you by giving yourself the ability to be like, I'm the problem in this situation, you also give yourself the power to do something about it. Because if everyone else is the problem, you cannot control everybody else, and therefore you cannot do anything about it. So you can't fix anything.
Yeah, perfectly said. The only thing we can control is ourselves in everything that we do. Essentially, how you react to things, how you absorb things, and yeah, if you keep finding yourself like they're the problem, then you can't do anything. You're stuck in that. And sometimes other motherfuckers are the problem, but the problem is still yours.
Yeah.
You are not moving forward because of the problem. It's now yours. Congratulations. You have to fucking deal with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I feel like that's something that people get really caught up on, is that even if other people are the dickhead, it's like you kind of navigating that in a way that is productive and allows you to move forward is the only way you can go about that. That's the only way you can do anything about it. Pruddy says something that I really like, because he's had a bit of a rough go with injuries and stuff recently, is the thing that he says, and I've kind of latched onto this, is the only thing you control is your attitude and your effort.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And those two things will be the foundation for everything that you do moving forward. And what started as such a big thing for me, and like super confronting as well, but very much like those little 1% effort things, the more you practice it and the more you put it in and allow it to take over, the more you allow it to adapt to your everyday life,
yeah,
the easier it is to navigate when it's a bigger issue. Because if you're like, okay, fuck it, every morning I run late because I'm not packing my gym bag, or I'm not getting fuel before that. Fuck, that's the worst one. I don't get fuel yesterday, so I got to do it in the morning. Now I got to run late, and there's a problem. Yeah, you're the problem, mate. It's your fucking car. It's your fuel. It's your bag. It's an easy thing to take on now, and then there's those little 1% disciplines that build up.
Yeah, for sure.
When they get larger, sure, the weight of it can change a little bit, but if you're putting these little blocks, these building blocks down early, the bigger things are easier to manage. Doesn't mean they're not shit.
Yeah, for sure.
But they are easier to move through or easier to navigate, especially to see an exit in these things. And mine started on something like simple, man, of like the bag. My gym shit was always, oh, this is a good one for you. My gym shit was never like packed, and then I'd be getting to the gym or not want to go because I don't have my shit on me, and just like these little things, man. And then I would start to slip on my training, and then that then bleeds into other things that move forward. And then again from that, like I'm the problem, like no one's packing my bag for me, or like even if they are, like it's still my responsibility to like make sure my shit's checked, even if someone else is helping me with the issue as well. Like you still have to do a QA on your own life and your own stuff. It's not just up to free motion. If you want your shit just to be free motion, then you don't get control of the outcome. You don't get control of the benefits, just like you don't get control of the negatives that come in it too. If you're not willing to take responsibility and ownership for it, regardless of how big it is, then you don't get to take ownership of the good, and you fucking you have to take you take toll of the responsibility then.
Yeah, for sure. Like I guess it's painful either way, isn't it? Like it's you either go through the pain of, you know, because it's hard to be disciplined. It's not. Yeah. I don't think it's easy for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So you either go through the pain of being disciplined, and you make it to the gym and things start snowballing in the right direction, or you go through the pain of, well, I didn't pack my gym shit and I didn't make it to the gym, and now like everything starts swinging in the opposite direction. And I think it's very much a thing where there is no standing still. You're either going forwards or backwards. You cannot. There's no stationary. I guess like the kind of age-old saying of like, you know, like the uphill battle is, you know, if you're pushing a boulder up the hill and you decide you need to stop because you need a rest, the motherfucker's just going to run you over and you're going back down the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. definitely like it builds with momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Like-
And the momentum will build either way, but
Mhm.
it won't stay still.
Yeah, because even if it is an uphill battle, the momentum might not change, but you will get stronger.
Yeah, for sure.
The push might ease up a little bit. Again, it's these little things that go through of it. It's very much like, and from like small things like the quality of life things where I need to take ownership of that, like I'm the problem in that sense, to career wise having
It can be as simple as like, you know, like picking your socks up, making your bed. Like those things will snowball as well. Like, and I feel like they're almost the easier things to overlook because they are so small and seem so insignificant. But yeah, I feel like that, like it can be that small, I guess.
Yeah, there's this fun engineering term that do like the 80% bulk, and then you like the hard 20% later is the part that you focus on whilst no one's looking. Always, the level of effort for the 80% is the 20%, and the level of effort for the 20% is the 80%, right? And so like you do this is it up front. This is the part that we're not showing, but we'll do that after. But the volume that it takes to control this part and make this part functional is so much more of a level of effort of this one. But on the surface, it looks much more cleaner and adapt and all that. So that like that, those small little ones, you're like, it's just in the 20%. We don't need it because it's not visible to the outside world. It's only what you do whilst no one's looking.
Yeah.
That's the level of effort that changes everything. It's the shit you do whilst no one's there that will make you the person you want to be. It's a weird. This is my take on it. Everyone might see this differently, but they say if you're not a good person, if you film yourself going and giving $5 to a fucking homeless person, you're a clout chaser, right? What makes you a good person is a magnitude of other things. I don't want to throw anything in there, but like you see what I'm saying? It's the shit you do whilst no one's there for yourself is how you build yourself up. It's your countless hours editing your shit behind that makes Demo what it is. It's not
for sure.
It's not you standing there in a park filming. It's how you fucking approach that and then produce that and then send. It's that 20% that no one's seeing. Yeah,
which arguably is the 80% of me spending every single one of my lunch breaks editing.
That's right.
After work, before work,
because the level of effort in that 20% is much greater than the level of effort in the 80%.
Yeah.
The 80% is just the visible shit. Everyone sees you at the park and they're like, oh, Jack's here doing an edit. Do a fucking trick over there. Do this. Sweet. Yeah. That's it. And everyone gets to fuck off and go home.
Yeah. And that takes 80% of the time because I might stand at the skate park all day.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then, like the time like that, but that 20% of when I'm editing these videos, that's where the whole thing comes to life. I can slap a clip on Instagram and it looks terrible.
Yep.
But it is in that edit that work that no one sees.
That's where it is. Yeah. There's a good like metric to look at is your time spent to your level of effort. One for me and like a weird one, the fucking washing, man. Holy shit. Time spent, stuff or level of effort, massive. All of it. Yeah. All of it and some I don't fucking have. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But when you do it, it's not too, because it's only a small amount of time. But it is that, like, what goes into it that is like a higher range and what is just like time spent. And so like on that Demo, how I see and have mostly always seen Demo as well is, pardon me, your time spent like in face value is matter. You're there for the whole time. You're doing this. You're thinking about it constantly. Even when we're going there, you're like, I want to do this. I want to get this edit. Jesus, mad hiccups. But it's that huge section behind, man, that makes it what it is. You can't just make shit happen out of air. There has to be something in it. And then on that, we won't drop any names of potential or former sponsors or anything, but I'm calling out a part of yours. There was something that you filmed that wasn't potentially what they wanted. Yeah. How you reacted to that, and like you weren't like, well, fuck them, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. No, you were like, sweet, I was the problem here. Bang, and look what that come out of it, man.
And that's I ended up in like such a better position than I would have because I could have easily blamed that client and went, well, they didn't give me a proper brief, and I could have just done better and been more aware of like what this brand is about and what they expect out of a video. And I fully owned it when they were like, look, this, like, it's not really going to work. I was like, sweet, like we'll get it next time. Like and I think that only grew the relationship, and it probably grew the relationship more than if I had have just done the video good and delivered it and they were happy enough and it all happened how it was supposed to happen. I think me owning that and being like, I am the problem in this situation. I should have just done better. I can blame all I want, but the reality is if I had have just done better, we wouldn't be in this situation.
So clean cut, man.
Yeah.
And knowing...
I had a moment where I got the email from the client and they went, look, it's a great video, but it's not going to work for our brand and what we need. And I definitely had a moment where I was like, well, you should have told your athlete, or you should have given me a proper brief, or like, and I definitely had that moment. I had those thoughts and I kind of like blew up, and then I caught myself and went, well, also I could have just done better. And it's that simple.
Yeah. And
this kind of falls into a little bit of one of the other things that I wanted to kind of like touch on, and we can circle back to it later if need be. But I read a book recently and they were talking about kind of your self-doubt and how maybe sometimes you should listen to your self-doubt. And this can get spun the wrong way as well, where like if you are genuinely just standing in your own way for the sake of it, then maybe you do just need to get out of your own way and get stuff moving. But again, that was I had a few client videos to do that at that event that we were at, and the one where I didn't perform to the level that I needed to perform to, that was the only one I was nervous about. It was the only one I had any self-doubt or any imposter syndrome. And it was because I knew I hadn't fucking done the video good enough or to what they needed. I fucking knew. And so like, if I had have had that foresight, I guess I could have listened to that self-doubt and been like, well, why am I nervous about delivering this video to the customer? And I could have had that thought process all while we were at the event and been like, all right, well, it's because I haven't gotten there's certain clips that I need to get for this client and I haven't got them, or I haven't followed up with the athlete enough. I haven't kind of got enough personal stuff with them. And then I wouldn't have been nervous about it because I would have known that I fucking nailed it.
Earn it.
Yeah, earn it. 100%.
As soon as you started talking, that's such a beautiful line that you've introduced to me, which is why I love these talks back and forth as well, is that like that...
The concept of earning it
sits in my head all the time.
I have it on my lock screen on my phone. I have the words "earn it."
Yeah.
If I ever have any doubt in my mind about anything of like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, or I don't know if I can deliver for this client, or I don't know if I deserve to be working with these people, or you know, I want to be better, I want to be fitter. It's any of these things. The answer to all of it is to earn it. If I am unsure about whether I'm worthy of working with a particular client, the only way to fix that is to earn it. And the only way to do that is to work on myself and be like, well, what do I need to do to earn that? Do I need to be better at color grading? Do I need to be more creative with my shot list? Do I need to, you know, like what do I need to do to earn that client? If I feel like I'm not worthy of it, what do I need to do? And then I just do that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that simple, really.
I really enjoy Earn It because it feeds very much into my you're the problem. Because as you listed off, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Not why aren't they? Why aren't they?
Yeah.
No, what can I do? And one of my favorite sayings I like to say to myself, said it all day today in the gym because it was kicking my fucking ass, man. And it kicks my ass regularly. That's the point of it. It's meant to. Yeah. And it sucks a lot of the time. But a thing that I run through my head a lot is, I always get this, my dyslexia makes me say this saying backwards, but I will do what they won't so I can be what they can't. And that shit will push me through so much. There's no one specific in mind for that. There is not any human that is in mind when I say that for any time I've said it.
Yeah.
But what it is I want something that's hard to obtain. So I'm a fucking work for it.
Yeah. And the harder it is, the more everyone else is going to quit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I will do this and they will quit. I won't though. I will keep going and I will fucking do that. I will get that. That's one of those, I find I'm susceptible to finding some of these like positive reinforcements that can also spin negatively on me at some point. Like they get a little like into my cranky brain a bit.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. That's one that holds like an aggressive weight, but an aggressive weight in a motivating side for me. That's why I can't assign it to anyone, and I don't want to assign it to anyone because I'm not competing with anyone but myself.
Yeah, and there's something that I believe we've had conversations about before, is that I don't think it's, I guess, like to have that mentality of like, I'm going to win and they're going to quit. I don't think it's necessarily productive to go about your day-to-day life treating every single person that you come in contact like you're in competition with them. But to some degree, we're all on a ladder somewhere, just in society. You know what I mean? There's people at the top of the ladder. There's Elon, there's Bezos, there's all those dudes. These dudes are at the top of the ladder. And then there's people at the bottom of the ladder as well. So we all fall somewhere in between those extremes, usually. Most people aren't at either end. But so we all kind of land on this ladder somewhere. And I think the more of those things that you can do and more of those wins that you add up, the more you're going to climb that ladder, even though you're not necessarily in competition with the people around you. If anything, you're probably going to bring the people around up with you.
Yeah.
But as a whole, as humanity, you're going to land on the ladder somewhere. So like doing those positive things are only going to move you up.
Yeah, I'm full with you. I definitely see the ladder as, how can I word this? It's, you don't have to compete, but you should always be looking for your next person to learn off that's better than you. Yeah. And that's how you climb. Like you learn to climb this ladder because it's not one foot after the other sometimes. Sometimes it's learning how to grade better. It's how to, it's learning how to fucking code to a certain degree. Like it's different things. How do I move a muscle better to activate it better or anything like that? Sometimes it's not just a visual climb. Sometimes you need to be looking, not again in such a competitive way of like, who can I beat this time? But who can I learn of? Because if there's no one around you that you're learning off, if there's no one around you that you are looking up to or inspiring to be, something that I want to talk about at a different time, then where the fuck are you going? Yeah.
There's kind of like, I guess if you're the biggest fish in the tank, or if you're the smartest person in the room,
you're in the
wrong room. Yeah. And it might feel good to be the smartest person in the room, but it's not always helpful.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever helpful, to be honest. But and I guess that kind of I guess circles back to kind of the kind of ego part of people kind of getting in their own road. I kind of fucking lost my train of thought.
It's all right. It like, sometimes when we talk about these, it's like my brain will be like, I want to talk about that. I still have something in my head that I want to say from a little bit ago, slightly off topic, so it doesn't like, and I'll come back to it because it's like the next section of how like you're the problem. I use that in my mental health as well.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry.
There we go. We got him.
So those kind of like, it's hard to give positive or negative like labels to these concepts, because like you were saying with it can kind of sound quite negative to kind of be like, well, I'm the problem. And it also can sound quite positive to do like the typical like self-help, chant affirmations to yourself in the mirror. Those things seem like they're positive and negative, but I think it's the other way around, where if you're just telling yourself in the mirror how brilliant you are and you can't do anything wrong, I think that is much more of a negative thing than being able to face up to you being the problem. And I think there's a bit of an ego struggle there where if you can't put your ego aside enough to accept responsibility for it because you're great and you're perfect and you've told yourself all of these things, you're not going to grow anywhere, because if everything is everyone else's problem, then like you're not moving anywhere with it.
Yeah, that's a real good thought, because
all those, I guess, those concepts, whether they seem positive or negative, it's usually the opposite.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the time, but I think for a lot of the time that they end up being opposite.
I find, it's very easy. It's very easy for the positive ones to become negative.
They feel good.
It's little brain lollies.
Yeah, 100%. Is that it feels good and it makes you feel like you're being productive and taking responsibility for things, but it's just a Band-Aid problem, like a Band-Aid solution, really, where you're really not taking responsibility for anything.
Yeah, because if you're going there, like we'll call it for writing or whatever.
Yeah.
Saying that a lot of the listeners like can relate to as well. If you're not getting a trick and you're still going in there and being like, no, you are the best writer here. Yeah. You're the greatest on all time. Like, why aren't you like there's fundamentals under that that you should be potentially being like, what am I doing wrong? How am I doing wrong? But also, instead of being like, I'm the greatest, look at people around you and be like, look, ask for fucking third-party advice on stuff. Yeah. What's happening with this? How can I do this better?
And I think you do see that in writing a bit where, and to some degree, like, this is something that I've experienced personally as well, is that like once you start kind of getting good and you start learning new tricks, you start doing harder stuff that are like big dog tricks, you now no longer want to work on the fundamentals, and you end up in these battles with yourself because you're no longer progressing. You're stuck at this level, but really what's required is for you to take a few steps back, work on some technique, get better at a few things, work on your bike control, all of these things. But you're like, no, I'm too good for that. Like, I need to be. For me, it was like tail whips and stuff. It was like once I started doing tail whips, I was like, I'm too good to do tire grabs. And then I couldn't do a fucking tire grab anymore, but I could do a tail whip. So like, kind of what's the point? I get like, yeah. And you get stuck, because then I get stuck in a scenario where I go to the skate park. The only trick I can do is a tail whip, because that's the only one that I'm like willing to do, because anything else is like not good enough.
Yeah, it feels lower on the ladder.
Yeah.
The fundamentals, like going back to the fundamentals, we do it a bit with riding in the sense of like, well, like 1 footer comps, let's go.
Yeah.
Just do
How
something.
many 1 footer variations can you do?
Yeah, exactly, right. And then do an Oppo 1 footer, which is not like, you change this, like get out of your comfort zone a little bit, which I enjoy. It's arguably some of the funnest times that we have is like doing that fundamental run.
And it always seems so silly when we do it, that we're like, oh, we're messing around doing 1 footers and 1 handers.
Yeah.
But then by the end of the session, we're like, we got so much out of that, where if we were just trying to battle stuff that we think is hard, you kind of leave the session going, well, I didn't really make any progress. Like, but yeah.
Like the small victories.
Yeah.
I've said this recently to people as well. Like, sometimes you got to take those small victories. You can't do this big thing. You can't climb fucking Everest now, right? But go walk around the block. That is a small victory. You got up, you did something, you got out. You can't do that trick. Go do your 1 footers. Do something less than that. Just take a step back. Give yourself something like, yes, okay, I'm still doing it. I'm still moving. Take this small victory and move forward with it. Like, you always add this like pressure on of like, yeah, like tricks are a big one, man. Like I started to really dislike riding because I was like, well, I'm not doing this trick. I'm not moving to this.
Yeah.
And I was not looking at the fun that what the fuck do I want out of riding? It was, what do other people get out of their riding?
Yeah.
And then I have to do that.
Yeah.
And then hated it.
Especially with like the crowd that we kind of ride with. Like, they're all so good.
Fucking nuts, man.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think it gets hard. And I think you do see it in riding a lot where, and I think tower whips are a big one, because tower whips are such a statement trick where you're like, I feel like once you learn how to do a tower whip, there's like a standard that you've set of like, I'm at this level of riding. And for me, I always thought that would never happen. Like I don't think there was anyone in my hometown growing up that could do a tail whip. Like it just seemed like this impossible trick. Really not that difficult, really. But you see people, and we see it at the park, especially with some of the younger guys that they're like, oh, I need to learn how to do a tail whip. Because that it's like that statement trick, you know what I mean? I feel like tail whips and backflips.
Backies, that's just straight in my head as what I got.
They're like these statement tricks to kind of, I guess, like show to other people that like, I'm at this level of riding. But then like, I'll say to them, be like, well, how are you no footers? Can you do a no foot can?
How are you tucks?
Yeah. Well, I guess for tail whips, it's like, well, to do a tail whip, you have to do a no footer. Both of your feet are off. So if you can't do a no footer, how are you going to do a no footer and spin the frame around and then land back on it when you can't do the no footer without spinning the frame around? Same with like no foot cans. I feel like no foot cans are a good, I guess, like stepping stone to tail whips, because you obviously get both of your feet off. They're both on the same side of the bike, and then you go both back on, which is very similar to like kicking a tail whip. And when the tail whip comes around, both of your feet are on the same side of the bike and you have to get back over and on it. So I feel like that's such a good stepping stone. So many people are like, oh, I don't want to do no foot cans, they're lame, I want to fucking just do a tail whip. It's like, well, how are you going to do that if you can't do like there's like stepping stones to get there. There's like little fundamentals. And I guess I used to skateboard a bit when I was younger. It'd be like trying to learn to do a kickflip when you can't ollie.
So, it's the process.
You need to be able to kick the ollie first, because that's half of the kickflip.
Yeah, that's a very good like analogy for it, of like how you like itemize your fundamentals leading into that. That's it's definitely like riding's a good one that we both share very, very quick on that. And like definitely something that I used in my everyday work life of back to like fundamentals. And like being like everything else is the problem, I'm sweet. And then making silly choices. And then from those choices, this is something that I reckon most people will be able to have some degree of like relation to as well, is that you make these silly choices in this like sporadic brain. They're not gone now. If you like do good after that, they're not gone. You still got to pick up the mess of the shit that you done in there. Like you can't run from it. That's why, like, as quickly as you can own up to it, that the quicker you own up to it, the quicker you found the problem. Sweet. That's the hardest part, is finding the problem in an issue. Think of like your car. If there's a problem going on with your car and you have no idea what it is, the second you find it, you're like, cool, I've
now sorted it out.
I've localized what the issue is. With like life progression, I feel like a good part of the time, the localized is you. You're the fucking issue for the most part of why you're not doing things.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I was going, like where I'm traveling with it is that. All right, so a me example, as you know, that I changed careers, had a career flop recently, because I was like, yep, this is what I need to like free up some mental space. This is what I need for this. It was the fucking opposite of what I needed.
Like that's the worst decision that I've seen you make, and you were like, this is 100% what I need.
Holy shit, was it not?
That was a mess.
Oh, fuck. Everyone that knows me that hears this will be exactly on that. The people in the room smiling about it as well. It was the fucking dumbest idea I did, man. Yep. And then not only crawling back from that and being like, you made a silly choice, having to own up to my silly choice was a hit to the ego. Ego grows back. Ego replenishes real quick. Hey, it's weird that like you're real scared to lose it. Fuck, I don't think it ever goes, man. It's still there. It just gets a little sore sometimes. It's like a sour lolly. Like, it sucks at the beginning, but you get a lolly. Just chill out, right? And then so you know, a little bit hit to the ego, but I'm still now like covering ground back in my like field of the fuck ups that I like of leaving and like doing that. Like because I stepped down and away to do that and then come back in as a lesser hit, but still wanting to have that drive for it. Like I still have to take responsibility for that and still move forward with it. And like admittedly, if I didn't own up to that, both in my personal stuff of not just the career dip, but like the whole dip within that. If I didn't own up to it, shit would be a completely different box of frogs of how negative things were going and how quickly they turned around just from me being like, I was the issue. I remember that talk in your car, man. I was like, hey, I was the fuckwit in most of these situations, hey?
Yeah.
And it's hard, it sucks, man. But like, it's and it can start at something so little. I've like a weird one of feeling super unmotivated and I can't do anything and can't get out. And so what I would do is like, right, well, you need to get yourself motivated. You need to get up for it. My tough love wasn't working for me, and then all of my like screaming in my ears with my music and shit, nothing was driving me. And then the one thing, this is weird, and like still saying that I'll run today, is I put my shoes on. We spoke about this last time. Put the shoes on and just like put my hands on my knees, which is weird. I don't know, because I've done it without this and it didn't work. This is just like my flow playing with it, but this is like, I'll circle back to this. Put my hands on my knees, like pushed my ass up, like got up out of it like an old man out of the chair, man, and just got out the front, fucking went for a walk, right? Sweet. Then like that become my fundamental. As soon as I started feeling sluggish and wanted to have a scroll,
real big on rituals, hey?
Bam, hands on the knees, get up. And I had to have this like structure, had to have this structure of hands on the knees, get up, go do something.
Yep.
And now that little like setup has started me for so much shit. I got to mow my lawns tomorrow. Fucking hell. But that's how my day will start. My day will start with this hands on the knees, get up, move out. Yep. And it was this like fundamentals of that little like routine ritual structure is what got me moving with stuff. And then like from that you start to then build, and like also go outside, touch some grass, helps a lot.
For sure.
It sounds very like negative. Why don't you go outside? Give you a little bit of time to think, and then on those thoughts, I would be like, fuck, this problem's having this is doing this, why can't I get ahead in this, all this shit, right? Then from that started to really, I kept, the problem with all of them was I was in them, right? Sweet. So there we've started, we've circled it, right? We're back to I was the problem in this, right? And then quite a lot of them were solved by it, and Casey from episode 1 gave me this weird bit of advice, like off the cusp once too. It was just like in passing.
It's weird how those can be the things that stick with you. Hey, it'll just be like this tiny little in passing comment, and then it just like sticks, and you're like, oh shit, that's how it works.
So much. And that line was, these things that you're feeling, these like dips and downs, what are you not giving yourself that you're searching from them in other things? So in the career, this stimulation that I was after for that, what aren't I giving myself that made me dip into this? This like I would shut myself out. Why? What am I not giving myself that I feel like I need to hide away to then for someone to be like, hey, I haven't heard from you or whatever, to be like, sweet, I missed somewhere, right? These like weird things. Yeah. What wasn't I doing for myself? Again, because you're stuck with yourself, and like you can give yourself some love, you can give yourself a pat on the back, you can do all of this. It's advised to not do it to the point where you shut out and then only seek your own like self-satisfaction in it. But one of those like back to the base, right? Sweet. When was the last time I felt good about something that I did? Cool. And then just start reeling it back into these basics. And then instead of looking at it as like this surface level of, I can't find a job at the moment, things are bad. All right, what am I doing? How does the structure of that work? Where can I place myself, and where can I do better through in this to better apply myself to things?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it, like touching on that concept of like, I guess like what maybe... the way it makes a little bit more sense in my brain is like, what parts of yourself are you neglecting?
Yeah, beautiful.
So, and that could be, as simple as like, when was the last time I did something that I enjoyed? When was the last time I drank enough water in a day? When was the last time I ate food that made me feel good, not bad? Like when was the last time I did something I was proud of? Like all of those things, they're your fundamentals. They're your 1-footers. They're your 180. Like
absolutely, and that is 100% what I meant by that. Yeah.
So, and like I've had conversations like this with people around me as of recently, where you know, they've kind of been like not in a good spot or struggling a little bit. And like, I don't really feel motivated. And it's like, well, when was the last time you did something you enjoyed? When, you know, like when was the last time you just went outside and went for a walk? Because like, and I feel like that falls into that 80-20 a little bit where as far as the effort goes, and I feel, you probably feel like this with the gym as well. Sometimes it's like 80% of the effort goes into the argument you have with yourself before you go. And then actually being at the gym and getting it done once you're there, that's only 20% of the effort. The argument is more often than not way harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than the actual, you know, physical thing that you're doing. And I found that a lot earlier in the year, like when I was like walking every morning, was that like the mornings that I would argue with myself about how like I didn't want to go out and walk and I didn't want to do this stuff and I was I can't be bothered this morning. It's too hard. It's warm in bed. It's cold outside. I don't want to do all this stuff. That argument was always harder. By the time I got outside and was walking, I was like, what the fuck was that all for?
Yeah.
This isn't even bad. Like the argument was worse. That was harder.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it, and it's kind of transitioning a little bit, but I think all of those things and all of those arguments that you have with yourself, it's so easy to then kind of fall prey to like this victim mentality that I feel like is so common. Like, and I see it everywhere, and I, as we touched on last episode, I have to stop myself a little bit from just getting cranky at people when they kind of fall into this. But, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, of like the concept of things being fair. I don't think anything is or should be fair, ever. It isn't. Things are not fair, and that's the only reason why you can win. Because if it was fair, you wouldn't be able to win.
Yeah, there would be no scale. There would be no better.
Yeah.
Everything could be even.
Everyone would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And be in the same. If everything would, like, it doesn't fucking make any sense for anything to be fair.
And it would be even to the lowest player.
Yeah.
So it would be even fucking worse.
Yeah.
Do you want worse or do you want better? Then don't fucking whinge for even.
So yeah, and I get that. That's a thing that I've kind of like. It's been rattling around in my head a lot recently about like the concept of things being fair. Oh, sorry. There's monsters making me
mad gassy.
I really don't think that there's any reason for like why would anything be fair?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Like, yeah,
I love the concept. I love the thought too. Like, yeah.
Why would it be fair?
Also, yeah, where's your entire... Why do you think things need to be fair for you?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you being fair for? Very much, I love the... I haven't said it in a while. I guess I haven't needed to. Again, you start to climb the ladder. You surround yourself with people where you don't need to have these talks to people a lot. Had this like this reoccurring talk when I was younger. Maybe like fucking... At WA, so like when I was in the mines, maybe 5 years ago or something.
Yep.
A lot of people being like, oh, I don't like they're just stepping on me, they're doing this. If you don't want to be stepped on, get the fuck off the ground, man.
Yeah.
That's simple. Simple. If you feel like people around you are stepping on you, elevate yourself.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
For sure.
Go back to your basics.
Yeah.
Go back to what you can control, which is yourself.
Which is your attitude and your effort.
How do you climb?
Yeah.
Start looking around you. Stop looking directly at the people around you and start looking at those people you inspire to be. Those people that you look up to. Then what are they doing? A lot of effort, a lot of effort, and a good attitude.
Yeah,
sweet. Let's fucking go. And you've got your building blocks, and then how you apply them is all up to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sounds heaps fucking simple when you say it. Yeah.
And I think and all of it, and I guess that 80-20 concept applies to everything. Like it applies to a lot of things in business. It applies to a lot. But yeah, I think it's like. I feel like almost 80% of the effort in a lot of this stuff is allowing yourself to actually do what you know is the good thing for yourself.
Yeah. Almost just like the 80% is showing up sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. 20% is just doing it. 80% is getting your ass to it, regardless of what it is, whether that is physically to it or mentally to it, emotionally to it. Get your ass to it. That's...
For sure.
Yeah. That's it. Man, I mean, like... you want to film. If you're not going to do that 80% of getting yourself to places, putting yourself in front of people that you want to film, and then behind the lens of people you want to film, or want to film with, and then people you want to film, then the 20% doesn't exist. The 20% is the present. That's what makes you the thing.
Yeah.
The 80% is the foundation to get the 20%.
And I think to be honest, I'm kind of in that situation at the moment where I kind of haven't put out a lot of videos on Demo recently because I haven't filmed much and I don't really have much to edit.
Yeah.
So I don't really have much to put out. I've got a few things left over from when I filmed at Oceanas but I've also posted 100 clips from the village. I don't want every single thing to be the same as well, but I haven't put myself in a position where like we were saying, I haven't gotten out and done the 80% of the time that is spent doing the physical filming. I haven't managed to get myself anywhere or get myself to people that I want to film for the last few weeks. So I now don't have the resources that I need to get the last 20% done to actually put some videos out. Or, I could just crank out a whole bunch of videos, but I'm not going to be proud of them. I don't think that they're not going to be cool.
It's your momentum that's drying up.
Yeah, a little bit. And I do have some things in the pipeline, and obviously this is something that we've spoken about before. It is a little bit of a balance with Demo where, because obviously I work full time as well, there's a fairly limited amount of time I get to spend making videos. So yes, it's great for me to produce videos for myself and post them on Instagram and grow that account and grow that community and kind of try and push that forward. But if I have a client job that comes up and it's paid, that goes to the front of the line, I guess it's kind of a good thing when I get myself in this situation where I'm I don't really have anything filmed. It's it's because I've been doing client work and I've been getting paid for this stuff. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword, but but that's it really, is that all of the filming that I have been doing recently more or less has been for client jobs.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot left over for me.
Less showcase work and more paid work. Yeah.
Which is obviously a good problem to have.
Absolutely. Fucking oath.
But I do feel for sure, there's part of me that's fuck, the momentum slipped on the Demo Instagram account.
It's easy to be negative in your head, something we've touched on before. Shit, we just need a whiteboard of this episode touched on it here. But saying we touched on it, it's super easy to be negative about it rather than being no, I'm working on so many other things behind the line, which I see. We talk fucking almost daily about things that we're doing and moving forward with, and that working on so many other big hitting things. It can easily feel like my momentum slipped for my showcase work. Doesn't mean it's dried up or anything, but you're busy. Again, you're still only one person. Something that still gets called out today that people might not realize is Demo is not your full-time job. You have a full-time job. Demo is your hobby, essentially. Your hobby job. Yeah, and that is something that has kind of, I guess, as more and more people see it and more people kind of see me around and I'm just kind of amongst people. And just talking to different people about different things or whatever, and it kind of comes because I don't walk around and everyone I meet I'm hi, I have a full-time job. Weird flex, but okay, cool, right? There's so many people that don't realize that the Demo and filming and this and this isn't my job. No?
I do this because I want to and because it's fun and I think it's I enjoy it. I still work 40 hours a week outside of that. Yeah, it's definitely saying a hobby job. I think is a great can be such a good tool, not only financially and you get to showcase your skills and expertise and stuff like that. But it really gives you something to dive into and focus on to build skills in it. I like to call them hobby jobs as well, rather than I try not to call anything related to Demo. I don't call it work.
Yeah.
Partially because it doesn't feel like work because I enjoy it so much. But also because I don't want I feel like it almost taints it a little bit. Where if I'm like, I'm working today,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I spend every Sunday working.
Yeah.
No, I spend every Sunday in my office making rad shit. Like that's
If I message you and be like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm working today. I'd be like, why are you going in on a weekend? And if you told me you were filming and you said to me you were working, I would fucking rip you for it. I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Because again, you get to do cool shit. Someone that gets to come with you on heaps of shit too. It's fun as fuck.
I had a moment when we're up at the top of the mountain at Threadbow. This is so derailed from what this episode
Very you and I.
Yeah. But I had a moment, and I've said to people recently that this is my game plan for demo. And I had a moment when we were up at the top of the mountain at Threadbow, and we're like looking over the valley, and there's like mountain bikes whizzing past us, and the sun's like beaming through the clouds and shit. I'm just like,
super romantic.
I cannot believe motherfuckers are paying me to be here.
Yeah.
That's my goal for demo as a business, to have those moments, to just be like, I would be here for free and someone's paying me to do it. Not only did I get entry to the event for free, Threadbow is not a paid event, but like Crankworks, for example, not only did I get into the event for free, I'm getting paid to be here. I would pay the money for the ticket and film for no money because I fucking love it and it's fun.
It was a mint experience. I know that we both have some negatives to say about it. The negatives were on us, but the event, what we got to see, what we got to experience, and to be fair, we were fucking laughing, being gooses most of the time. Yeah. It was hilarious.
They are hard, but they're hard.
It's a slog.
And
fuck that mountain.
Oh, dude. And
walked up and down that bitch so much.
Even at Crankworks, like I was so stoked to be at Crankworks last year. Like I couldn't believe that I fucking got to go and film. By the end of it, I was like so fun, and it's so hard, and it's such hard work, and like, but I also love it.
Yeah. I feel like it's a good thing, though at the moment, like in the moment, sorry, it feels sluggish and a bit of a shit. One of those, like, what are you proud of? I got to do this. I got to go there. And that becomes one of your fundamentals of like, this is what I've got to do. You like luckily got a showcase of your fundamentals on demo. Yeah. You know, your house is structured around, well, definitely your office structured around your fundamentals, you know? Oh, geez, man, these monsters are on me today. But yeah, you were very surrounded by your fundamentals. Yeah. Doesn't mean it's not easy to slip from it, though, at times. Absolutely not. Sure. But definitely gets to be like a building block in like, this is what I've done. And I hopefully happy to speak for you on this, is that I feel you're one of those people that's like, sweet, that's what I did last year. This year, better. That's now the bottom run. Yep. We're up here now.
Yeah. And that's now the baseline. Yeah. And we're moving forward.
Do better, do more. Yeah. And not I can't think if I've ever heard you say that in a negative way. In this, like, I will do better. Like, definitely put some pressure on yourself, but so you should, because you fucking want something. Yeah, for sure. Pressure makes diamonds. Let's go.
But it's only because I want it. The pressure's only there because of how fucking bad I want to make this shit.
And it's your pressure. Yeah. You've put it there. No one else doing it. Like, your wife, I'm sure, puts pressure on you to do dishes or something like that, but not to like film, not to push in that sense, you know? Like, I put pressure on you to arrive anywhere on fucking time, which you don't. Clearly, some things are more important than others, right? So, sorry, I had to put that one in there. But like, it's never a negative thing, especially from what I've seen. I guarantee there's times that you were like, "You're a fucking dickhead," eh?
That's Katie will attest to that. My wife would definitely be like, "There's definitely moments where like I get in little fights with myself, and I'm like, you fucking idiot," like But I feel like I do a pretty good job of kind of keeping it positive most, like at least a majority of the time. Where, you know, it's I don't get myself in this mindset where I continue to push myself to do better, because it's not because I'm trying to tell myself that nothing I do is good enough, but purely just to like, for the progression. And I guess it kind of comes back to that, the uphill battle, where I don't think you can stay stationary, because even if you do stay stationary, I guess the world around you is going to continue to move forward. So if you are staying stationary relative to everything else, you're still going backwards. So I feel like there's only forwards or backwards momentum.
Yeah.
There is no stationary. Yeah. And we all slip. Like, this is definitely something that I've had to learn in the last couple of years as well, where particularly with Demo, where I'll have, and you would have seen this for sure, I'll have a couple of months where shit is just fucking working. I got people like knocking on the door, phones are fucking ringing, like I've got more work than I know what to do with, and everything's going in the right direction, and the Instagram's popping off, and new followers are rolling in, and everything's happening, and I'll, get all these paid gigs and do all this stuff, and then like 3 months later, I have a month where I do nothing. And I've had to learn to be able to accept that a little bit, that there are going to be waves to it. It's all going to come in waves. And it doesn't mean, because I would get really panicked where I'd have like this big upwards trajectory and then it would kind of level off and I'd just be like, well, it's all over. Like it's over and it will never come back. And I guess being able to navigate that within myself to be like, all right, well, all the client work has dropped off for this month. This gives me an opportunity to now knuckle back in on my personal content or the demo content, which overlaps a little bit, but put a lot more effort into the content that I create and that I put out for free, or push into new merchandise, or what can I do to better set up everything that happens in the background in my business, and all these different things where I still can be pushing forwards in those moments, even though it feels like everything's come to a grinding halt. And I'm sure you would have definitely seen that, where it comes in waves. Like at the moment, big upwards trajectory. I had a meeting today, sick, so good, very exciting.
I've not heard you shut up about it yet. I can't imagine Katie's ears are fucking still on her head,
bleeding.
Yeah. Start that one again.
Try again.
Fuck, why did that rattle me? I like to think of that as it will pass.
Yeah.
That
providing that you are still moving forward.
Yeah.
If you genuinely have just like, and I guess I kind of use me as an example. If I genuinely like haven't been reaching out to companies, or I haven't been like nurturing the relationships that I do have with clients, or I'm not making the effort to go and film like on unpaid days for my own content. If I genuinely am just like chilling on the couch and being like, no work's coming in, but it'll be sweet, then I am going to go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess that's kind of the difference between like when it does cool off, using that as an opportunity to continue to push forward. So then when you've got your next upwards trajectory, like you've got a bit of momentum. You got some momentum behind it to carry it even higher.
It's super fun to see how relatable the business to mental health. They are exactly the same, because you're trying to earn one and spend the other.
Yeah.
When I say this will pass, I have that as in this lull will pass. So will the hype. Yeah. That big week, this massive uplift, it'll pass.
It'll pass.
Yeah. It doesn't stay at that. It doesn't peak. This great week that you've had, you've got up on time, you've felt good, you've packed your lunch, your shit, your gym's been sweet, your weights have been good, your riding's good. All this, it will pass.
Yeah.
Might not be now, might not be next week, but there is a dip coming. Very much how you handle that dip.
Yep.
And what you're doing. Like you said, you'll be like, sweet, I'm going to work on my personal portfolio to add value to the next wave. And it is, how do you bring yourself up then? Right? What can I do in my mental dip here? How can I structure this to then build when this next momentum comes through? I am equipped and I am prepared to fucking hit this even harder, to use this and utilize this uplift as something beneficial for me. And I've seen you do that very much so in like Demo and your career. And it's definitely something I try and do in like my fun dips and waves of like personal battles and like mental battles and stuff like that of, yeah, they're like, once you're in that, sweet. If you stop in that dip, and I loved what you were saying, yeah, in retrospect to everything else, nothing's stopping from you. You're not the center. As shit as it is, I would love to be the center of attention. If everything revolved around me, bruh, great. But it fucking doesn't. That's shit. Too bad. Can't change it. Move on, right? Yeah. So if you stop in that, in any sense of it, yeah, you're gonna miss the next wave. You're not gonna catch that high that comes through, because you're trying to roll that boulder again. You're trying to get that momentum back up. Super interesting how fucking scarily similar business to mental health sit with each other.
I think all of the fundamentals just come back to all of it comes back to those fundamentals though, of like all of these concepts apply to everything. And I think that's why I have such an overlap with all of these things that I'm passionate about, whether it's like the personal development, mental health side of it, whether it's the business side of it, whether it's the action sport. This is just like this perfect Venn diagram of like this, all of these concepts apply to all of it. And it's all kind of the same. And yeah.
There's such like, through fundamentals have a continuity to everything. Everything you do will have the fundamentals of it. And the fundamentals will be almost the same, whether it's a business fundamental, a mental health fundamental, a writing fundamental, whether it's mental health, physical health, business, work, the fundamentals are going to be the same concept of, if you don't work on it, if you don't try and help yourself, no one's doing it for you.
Yeah. I guess that kind of relates back to, I fucking love quotes. Such a quote guy, as cliche as it is, and as much as I kind of hate admitting it publicly, such a quote guy. I saw this thing the other day. It was like, if you have like two dogs chained up, one in the dark and one in the light, which one will survive?
One in the light?
The one you feed.
Oh, fucking... Fuck, why did you save that to the end? That would have been such a good thing to end on.
Banger. All right. We're an hour and 2 minutes in. Have you got any final...
No, I don't want to... No.
You happy with that?
That's beautiful. Would like to mention, though, that we're now Spotify.
Oh, yeah. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, and regular old-timey YouTube.
We're back on?
We're back on.
Right, guys, super sorry to like pull you back in here. It's like end credit stuff. You know, do you remember... fuck, don't make me ramble. You remember back in the movies, like after you'd see a movie and you'd wait...
I've never seen a movie in my life.
Fucking Jesus. What a bitch. Just want to say real quick, one, love the messages. Thank you very much. Super, super overwhelming for one, which is a weird... because like I wasn't expecting anything, and then what I was expecting was not positive at all. So super happy about that. Just want to say, keep it coming. If you have one you want to touch on anything, you just want to reach out for any reason whatsoever, please do it. You can reach us on,
obviously, the Demo Cast is you can message that one. That will go directly to me. Or you can message my personal Instagram, which is demojack59, your sleeper_Alex. Anything. You have questions, you just want to say, well done. You want to tell us that we're stupid.
You hate our table and chair setup.
Yeah, whatever. Any feedback.
Yeah.
Love the feedback. I am blown away with how positive it's
been,
been,
same. I'm not only the positivity, that first part wasn't a word.
Sure.
But the amount, I know I've mentioned this to fucking everyone, the amount of people that have come back in person, massive. But then like the DMs
as well.
Holy shit. Even if there's something that you want us to have a touch on, definitely put it out there. Happy to hear any feedback in any sense. So keep it coming, guys. Fucking thank you for being there.
Yeah, absolutely. DMs are always open. Hit us up.
I'm gonna clip that part just for later on.